I've been around a long time myself. I know what's real and I know what's fake. Okay, and you do too, Bill. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say this to you right now. If I'm wrong, I'll come on and I'll apologize and I'll be wrong. But I have no intentions of ever believing that this was a work. Okay, because I heard R-Truth's son come right after that. His own kid came out and said that it wasn't a work.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of the Wrestling Time Machine. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and, of course, the old fart, Bill.
All right. Wait a minute. Before we get started on our topics, I was at a convention this weekend, and
No, we want to talk about this old fart.
No, wait a minute. Somebody left this note for me. Mr. Apter, Apper, open on time machine, please. Joey.
Oh, okay.
What did he say?
I don't know yet.
The
We're going to open it.
Open up on the show. Yeah.
Oh, no.
What is there? You're so...
You remember when rainbows only came in black and white?
Yeah. But
You
that's
took
all
your
right, Bill.
driving
You
test.
let him know you may be an old fart, but you're still alive.
You took your driving test on the dinosaur. Your back goes out more than you do. Getting lucky means you found your car in the parking lot. Even your birthday suit needs ironing. Oh my God. You remember when the Dead Sea was only sick? So remember.
You sure that wasn't one of your kids?
No, definitely. It might have been. I don't know. It was at one of the conventions. But my new name is now Stone Old, and that's the bottom line, son. I was print bait before there was clickbait. Take us away, Mac.
Let's talk about the
This doesn't bother me much.
And again?
So this doesn't bother me.
That
much.
doesn't not much. Don't let he's lying.
I'm begging you, Mac.
R-Truth is back in the news, and he's back in WWE, despite the fact that everyone knows the truth. WWE has tried to play it off as a work. Bill, what do you think about the whole situation with R-Truth, and is it a work or was it a show?
I think no matter what they say, that they work the boys. We talked about this on our last show, how hard it is to do that. And I remember Teddy saying that, if you just don't tell anybody, and they played it really well. Do I think personally it's a work? I do. But then again, that there's that part where Nick Khan talked to R-Truth, if it wasn't a work, and made a deal with him. What I don't like about this whole thing, is on Monday Night Raw, he came out, stood on the broadcast table, cut his dreadlocks, and said that he's no longer this comedy act or whatever. Now he's Ron Killings. So the fans wanted him back, but I really think that they wanted him back, and they cheered, of course, but I think they wanted him back as the same R-Truth. I love the shtick that he does during the interviews and everything, and I hope that character part of R-Truth stays in Ron Killings. I really hope they don't drop that, because to me that's my favorite part of that character.
And real quick before I get to you, Teddy, I do want to mention that it did seem to me, because he did kind of separate R-Truth from Ron Killings, but he came into the ring first, and he actually on top of the announcer's desk, and he acknowledged the fans and that they are the reason he was there that night. So I think he gave a nod to R-Truth in the process of becoming Ron Killings, because the character's got to be serious, and the character's got to want to get back to John Cena. And something tells me that we're going to see R-Truth and John Cena get back together again. And maybe that'll be one of two people now that are up in the air that I think will take the belt from Cena, that being Logan Paul or R-Truth.
No, it's got to be R-Truth. If they play this right, to me, that company will go wild. The WWE Universe will go wild if they do that and give that undisputed championship to from John Cena to Ron Killings. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eddie, what do you think?
Well, I was just listening to both of you. Bill Apter, you've been around 40-some years. Matt
51.
Davis, you've been around a long time. I've been around a long time myself. I know what's real and I know what's fake. Okay, and you do too, Bill. So I'm gonna say this to you right now. If I'm wrong, I'll come on and I'll apologize and I'll be wrong. But I have no intentions of ever believing that this was a work. Okay, because I heard R-Truth's son come right after that. His own kid came out and said that it wasn't a work. So only thing I believe, and this is my opinion, that they did it, but it backfired. Because this has happened a lot of time. I was there for 10 years. 15 years. So this has happened where things have happened where they fire people and it just goes away. You know, it doesn't matter. But all I'm saying is this. I would have, in my longest dreams or whatever, I would have never believed that when R-Truth left that the fans would have been chanting his name. So I'm saying to you, I'll tell you what, I'll ask both of you a question now. Name me somebody that they released and the next night on Raw, they were chanting their name.
CM Punk. But
That's it.
And Teddy, I told you this earlier today. That's the only other name I can really think of, that name who was chanted by the fans that made a difference in the end.
That demanded that he come back.
And you know why? Because he got on that microphone and he stopped working and he started shooting. Okay?
Yes.
It was real, and that's exactly why the people were chanting his name.
Well,
because
remember now, I said two ways. I said at first I think it's a work, but then Nick Khan came into the picture and re-signed him. So I'm,
well, they'll go all the way to that to work something.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so don't let Nick Khan, don't let that bother you either. Because they'll go to the extreme if they want you to make you want to believe something. So, but I'm saying I believe all day long that this was what it was. It just backfired.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you. This was an act of God for those people to be chanting that kid's name, man. And then, like I said, only person we could think of was CM Punk.
Yep.
Nobody else. So what does that tell you? That's an act of God, man. They just open up a can of worms.
Now, let me tell you, as a businessman and from the business standpoint of WWE, if you're going to get negative publicity because you're working the boys and working the fans, it makes zero sense. They went through a lot of crap and they have gotten bruised from this. Listen to the fans. Look at the comments of everybody who was so ticked off that this had happened. And then they come out and pretend that it was all work. The fans knew better, and the hatred is there for that. Own up to the fact that you fired somebody that should never have been fired, probably by a bunch of bean counters who said, we gotta make some cuts here and there. But eventually, who makes that final call? That person should not have a job. I'm going to tell you right now, that was the dumbest decision made by anybody.
We may never know. We may never know what.
We're gonna know. We're gonna know.
Truth is. How, Teddy?
It's going to come out.
Eventually, the truth will come out. Even if his contract's over, there's going to come a day where somebody will say something. But I think that this was a complete shoot that backfired. And when it did, they tried to save face. And in the process, the fans realized, I'm not buying what you say.
All right. I have a theory here. Okay. If it was someone on the TKO side that let him go, that released him, isn't this what happened with WCW when corporate started to take over and make some of these decisions? Because WWE doesn't own itself anymore. So I'm just wondering, it's scary down the line that if TKO...
I can't see anybody on the TKO side making that decision.
Yeah, I can't.
They're not
either.
involved enough with this in the wrestling part of it to really make that decision. I see myself, my opinion, that decision was made by whoever's in charge with WWE.
And that's Paul Levesque, that's Triple H. But for some reason, I can't see him just saying, "Let's get rid of truth."
Why can't you? Why can't you, Bill?
Because he's such a hot commodity.
So what? They don't care.
No,
They got rid of a lot of people that were hot commodities.
Yeah, but Teddy, to me, it may have come from the TKO side because they're all about the numbers. What are we paying this guy, and what is he doing?
Okay, well, offer him work out something with his contract then, and keep him there. Why go through firing him and then having to bring him back? That's just a waste of time.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. So I
I'm
think
telling you, man, they did. This was done purposely, and once again, my opinion. But I'm saying to you, this will all come out. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
I was going to suggest that if Teddy's wrong, he's got to shave his head. But if you're wrong, you have to grow hair.
Well, that'll never work for you.
You don't have to worry about it. He'll save bald the rest of his life here.
But I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm just glad he's back. But I want to see.
Let me tell you what I heard over the weekend.
But I want to see Truth, the one that the fans went crazy over, the guy that will still hopefully be able to do the shtick that he did, where he's mixed up and he doesn't know who's who or who. You know what I mean? That's the Truth I want to see.
Well, they ain't going back there.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the TNA style Ron Killings, the guy that had a little bit of an attitude and really, he was in there wrestling and doing a lot of things. His performance in TNA was really good. And if people have never seen that, you should go back and watch that. You might get a hint of what you're about to see from Ron Killings. But I think everybody has known that he was one of the top guys in the company, could work with anybody, was incredibly talented, not just what he could do in the ring, but physically what he still looked like. I mean, nobody would ever guess his age because he's better than most of the guys that are in their 20s or 30s, quite honestly.
Well, he'll never go to AEW. He's too old.
Teddy said something last week that wouldn't have been great if John Cena came out and said, I told you I was going to ruin wrestling and I got rid of R-Truth. That would have been so hot.
I would have did it.
You should have booked that.
They should have. Like I told you, they didn't know what to capitalize on. That if you really wanted to get him some heat, that would have got him some heat.
Okay, and there is another piece of evidence that tells me that this was a shoot, because surely you're thinking in your mind, hey, if we're going to do this, we need to set this up a little bit before we get there.
All right,
they didn't do that either.
I will say it's a shoot, and don't call me Shirley.